Good evening, everyone. Many important topics came to mind this December that I would like to talk about this year-end video message. I speak at length, much longer than last year, so I written my text these days, and since it's very long, I read it. Thank you very much to my dear customers for being with me this year. This year is very important in my life. I always remember it. This year my photo works in Italy, Tuscany became available online for the first time. 2 sections of my pictures can be viewed as an online exhibition. For this, I'd like to thank the staff of T.O.E Art Market and Look Art Fair. Of course, I work year-round for iStock by Getty Images. Then next week I'll be summarizing this year's result in my iStock by Getty Images portfolio, but it already seems to me that I had a better result in sales than last year in my first year. I'd like to thank my customers for showing interest in my portfolio from more and more countries. And a special thank you to those who have been with me since the beginning. Many thanks to my dear customers in China, India and Brazil for finding and selecting my iStock by Getty Images files. I continue to work next year to bring new works like these, and I hope you like them. I get very important motivations from my US customers, and I pay attention to the interest of all my dear customers from countries around the world. I also thank my customers from European countries for trusting me, and especially for their patience, because there's a lot of work here in Europe. I also thank everyone who downloaded my Russian flag photo. This is my most successful file in the first 2 years in my iStock by Getty Images portfolio. The photo had 24 downloads from 13 countries. I'd also thank this beautiful flag to the Boris Yeltsin Presidential Library in St. Petersburg, Russia, because this flag, which is shown in my picture, is on the roof of the library on Senate Square in the historic district in St. Petersburg, Russia. I'd also like to talk about another successful photo from my iStock by Getty Images portfolio. This is my most successful file from Paris, France. This picture is the Sunday night in the Parc de la Villette. It has been downloaded several times from France, California, US, Brazil and Belgium. I took this picture on an Indian national holiday, and the special significance of the composition is that in the background there is a huge Indian crowd around the Guild building. The whole crowd is not visible in the picture, but the entire Indian community of Paris was probably present, which means a significant crowd of Parisian Indian people. Many thanks to all who are interested in these and all my files. I have many more successful files from the first 2 years, but I can talk about them all. I won't talk about my videos yet until the end of the next year. In the next year, there will be changes in my home, so I not be able to travel for long periods to distant countries. Instead, I have short trips abroad closer to home, and I work more at home on my laptop. I work to make as many of my photos and videos from previous years available in my iStock portfolio, so I have a lot of editing work to do. I mainly reached architecture and financial business topics, and of course, I don't forget important social issues and feminist issues at all. I can claim a very significant additional enrichment from this December. I also joined the collection of Shutterstock, based in New York, USA. This means that from the end of this year, my dear customers will be able to select and download my stock files from 2 international stock photo and video collections. In the Shutterstock collection, you can find my photos and videos with classic American style composition, mainly my architecture photos taken in financial districts, cityscapes, portraits, and photos and videos related to transportation. I'm so happy to be a Shutterstock contributor, and I hope this new portfolio will make my work even more interesting for my US customers. And of course, everyone can reach me also in this collection from all over the world. It's a new beginning. This new portfolio is an exciting start to my next year. You can download the currently available collection of files from my iStock Getty Images portfolio until the end of next year, and after that I mainly keep the file types in my portfolio that my dear customers download in the first 3 years, and I enrich my offer with these types of files in the future. With all of this in mind, I'm telling you now please browse my iStock Getty Images portfolio and download the files you like and need for your work over the next year. So you won't lose files from my iStock Getty Images portfolio that we used before. We learned this year that there are people in the world who believe they can manipulate masses of people through the internet based on their unprivate beliefs. However, we will not forget that there are always organizations behind the greatest leaders who direct the lives of the peoples of the world and the decisions of many, many people determine the great changes in the world. Every month I find time to get to know the Getty Images editorial guidelines and the vision of the editors of Getty Images, and as I learn a lot from my colleagues, my Getty Images photographers, from Getty Images photographers around the world. Based on this, I like to point out that the content of my files means different things to my customers in Eastern Europe, different things in Western Europe, different things in Asia, and different things in South America. There are countries around about which we unfortunately we see a little visual content every year, such as Tanzania, Nigeria, Ethiopia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. So we know even less about the everyday life of African countries. My opinion is that people in the world, in the whole world, only know a little about the life of Central and Eastern Europe, Central and Eastern European countries. And that is why I have a lot of work, because I live here. There are situations, customs, and concepts that have different meanings on the countries of the world. That is why in my files I write in a short description which content of the files content motivated me as a photographer in my work. These 2 or 3 sentence texts can be seen on my previous iStock Getty Images files. However, these textual contents are not typical for me as a photographer. If I write as a writer. And without royalties for my texts, I certainly don't write texts for free. I like to ask young women in Europe to never take up writing work for free, because every sentence has a price. And this is also the case when a woman writes, because it's intellectual work. In all cases, you have to ask for money for tax writing. We women have many payments throughout our lives. So from a very young age, we must be able to negotiate with our manager for our income and learn to succeed in this on our own. This is also the case if someone has a husband or a large family. If we women don't learn to negotiate for our income at a young age, it will result in lower wages for all Europeans at work and the decline of European countries' economy. With all of this, I like to say that we women must be equal employees in the European human research market. As an editor, I consider it a very serious problem in Europe that men in the offices of various types of companies often want to change the writing style of women. If a woman is over 30 years old, she has definitely developed her own style. It will not be done by men for the woman. The woman has been working on her own style all her life. It also includes the writing style. The women in Europe, my opinion is that a man should not interfere with the writing style of a mature woman. Men have no right to this. No right. There may be a psychological problem in the background or repressed sexual attraction. This was a form of workplace intellectual harassment. There is another 21st century problem that is common to all of Europe, and it became clear to everyone around the world this year. All the political and business leaders do not live in the world of the younger generations and know nothing about it. This was not the case in the 20th century. Nowadays, service providers create separate media for the older generations. This results in generations interpreting concepts in different ways and older leaders projecting their own youthful vision onto today's young adults. Presenting these concepts and problems visually is really challenging for me because it's a very big task. And while this topic, intergenerational relations, is always of great interest in Eastern Europe, I hope that loving relations will dominate in Europe next year. I'd like to take a moment to wish Italian environmentalists Merry Christmas in Italian. Buon Natale, UEFA Italia, Buon Natale Italia. And this is the moment when I talk about the fact that selective waste collection is in offices, unfortunately, still does not work very well in European corporate culture. I asked the companies working on this to design small selective waste collectors that can be placed next to the desks for employees sitting in offices instead of the traditional paper baskets in the office, because the traditional paper basket does not encourage them to collect selective waste all day. If you want to support people who live on a modest income every day of the year, then I ask you to collect waste selectively throughout the day, both at home and in the office. Because recycling makes products available to people with lower incomes that they can make their home more comfortable and that their life can be happier even though their income is less. And one last moment, please. This is original T.O.E champagne from Central Eastern Europe, from Hungary. I wish all my dear customers a very Merry Christmas, a very Happy New Year, good health, good luck, and please stay with me next year. Cheers.